Hello my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet this really simple and easy spring wrap or wrap shawl. It's a long rectangle wrap that's perfect for a gift for Mother's Day or in addition to your Easter outfit or any outfit that's maybe sleeveless or spaghetti straps that you want to just wrap something around your shoulders just for something a little extra warmth but not too heavy. I love this particular stitch because it is a V-stitch, but it's an open V-stitch where we chain one in between. It's a really simple one row repeat once you get started, and then we add this adorable beaded fringe on both ends of our wrap. Now you don't have to add the beads if you don't want to. You can still do the fringe without the bead. The bead just gives it lots of fun, and we'll talk more about that when we get into supplies. Now this measures 12 inches across and it's about 28 inches long, but you can find those multiples and how to adjust the length and width on the blog. And again, I'll have the complete pattern with pictures on the blog so that you can see it. And I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. The yarn that I use to make this wrap is just one cake of the cinnamon swirls from Yarnspirations or Caron, however you want to say that. This is the color that I chose. This one's a little bit different. You can see it's got some yellows and some greens in it. This one is a little bit different. To me, it reminded me of when we went to Alaska and saw the Aurora Borealis. And so I called it the Aurora Spring Wrap. All right. So you need one ball. And let's see here. That's 8 ounces of a medium weight number 4 yarn. Now, I chose to use this because I picked this up at my local Michael's and I thought it was just gorgeous, and this one was perfect for the colors for a spring wrap shawl. Okay, and so it takes one ball or 8 ounces of medium weight number 4 yarn. Now I know you're going to ask me, can I make this in cotton? You certainly can. You can use whatever fiber that you want to, and you can do whatever colors that you want to. I just really loved how the color changes were in this. They're shorter color changes and lots of beautiful colors. This one, it has sort of muted colors. This one is a little bit brighter with that yellow in it. It's called, let's see, this one's called Tropical Breeze. This one is called Lilac and Lime. It has lots of shades of purple and green in it. That's why it's lilac and lime. All right, so 8 ounces of medium weight number 4 yarn. Now, you'll notice that I have 2 crochet hooks. We're going to be adding the beads in a different type of technique than putting them all on at the beginning and pushing them forward. When we're ready to add the beads, I'm going to show you how to take a smaller crochet hook and add those beads on. So we're going to stitch up the body and everything of our shawl with an eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. But when we go to add our beads, you're going to need a small crochet hook that can go in your bead, because we're just going to go in and pull a loop through. And this one says a G on it, or maybe that's a 6. Okay, it's a boy hook, one I had on hand. It actually belonged to my mother-in-law. When she passed away, I was given a lot of her crochet things, and this hook actually belonged to her, and I've just kept it. I don't do tiny crochet stuff, but she loved to make those little doilies, and she also made beautiful snowflakes, and she used this hook for that. But I'm going to use it so that I can fit it through my bead, pull that loop through, and then we'll pick back up and use our other crochet hook, okay? So that's a 6, not a G. All right? And then the amount of beads, like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I'm going to do it on both ends. So 13 and 13 is 26. So I'm going to need 26 beads. All right. If you add length or width to yours, you'll need more beads, of course. And these beads I just bought at the Dollar Tree. They're almost look like jelly beads. They are hard, but I mean as far as the colors. And I thought they were perfect with this shawl. All right. Now remember, the beads are optional. You don't have to put beads on if you don't want to. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin with our slip knot. And we're going to chain 39 chains. And I do recommend that you don't chain your beginning chain too tightly because you don't want the end of your wrap shawl to be all puckered up. All right, so 1, 2, 3. So I have chained 39 chains, just a little bit loose. Now we're going to start with a row of double crochets. So we're going to stitch a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. Now this chain 3 here at the beginning that we skipped, that will count as our first double crochet. And then there's our next. And so we're going to double crochet in each of those chains, working all the way across. And this is just our foundation for the edge of our wrap shawl. So 1 double crochet in each. Whoops. There we go. In each of the chains, working all the way across our row. So we began in the 4th chain from the hook and stitched a double crochet in each of our stitches across. Now this chain 3 counts as our first, so we have 37 double crochets. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. We're going to double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. Our chain 3 counts as our first, and then we're stitching 3 more. So that gives us 4 double crochets at the beginning. Our chain 3 and our 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and stitch a V-stitch in the next. And our V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then we'll chain 1. And by adding a chain 1 in between and skipping 2, that gives us an open V-stitch. All right, so we chained 1, we're going to skip 2 and stitch a V-stitch in the next stitch, which again is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the same stitch. Chain 1, and we're going to repeat this all the way across till we reach those last 4 double crochets. So chain 1, skip 2, V-stitch in the next, chain 1, skip 2, in our V-stitch in the next. I have repeated across, chain 1, skip 2, V-stitch, chain 1, skip 2, V-stitch, all the way across. So I have 9 V-stitches. Here's my last chain 1. I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches and stitch 1 double crochet in the last 4. And remember that chain 3 when we started that we skipped is our last stitch. It does count as a double crochet. And then I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. All right, so that gives us 4 double crochets, 9 V-stitches, and 4 double crochets with chain 1s in between. So again, we have 4 double crochets, we have 9 V-stitches with chain 1s in between, and then we end with 4 double crochets. We chain 3 and we're going to turn our work. Our chain 3 will count as our first double crochet on every row. All right, so now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in those 3 double crochets. And by having these 4 at the beginning and end of each row, it makes a nice edge on our wrap where we don't have to add any kind of edge. We're going to chain 1. Now we're going to go to the chain 1 space of our V-stitch and stitch a V-stitch, which again is a double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. Chain 1, go to the next V-stitch and stitch a V-stitch in the chain 1 space. And chain 1, and we'll repeat this all the way across. V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the V-stitch, chain 1, and repeat. So we have repeated this across, and we again have 9 V-stitches. We have our 4 double crochets at the beginning. Here's our chain 1, and we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the last 4 double crochet stitches. And chain 3. So we have 4 double crochets, 9 V-stitches, and 4 double crochets. Chain 3, and now we're just going to turn our work again. And now we're going to repeat on row 4 what we did on row 3. So we'll stitch a double crochet in those 3. Chain 1, V-stitch in the chain 1 space of our V-stitch. Chain 1 and repeat this, working all the way across. And chain 1, V-stitch in the chain 1 space. And chain 1. And so basically, row 4, we're just repeating row 3. Our 4 double crochets, 9 V-stitches, and 4 double crochets with our chain 1s in between. We stitch those 4 double crochets, chain 1, V-stitch in each of our V-stitches. So again, we have 9 V-stitches, chain 1, and we end with those 4 double crochets. And I think you're seeing how the 1 row repeat, if I can say that, 1 row repeat, how that works for this project. We're going to chain 3, turn our work, and again, the chain 3 counts as our first stitch. We'll stitch a double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, and again stitch a V-stitch in each of the chain 1 spaces across with chain 1s in between. And it's real important that you do those chain 1s in between, because that's what helps get the lacy look for our spring Aurora Wrap Shawl. All right, so we're just going to repeat what we did on row 4 on row 5. We have our 4 double crochets. We're going to have 9 V-stitches with chain 1s, chain 1, and end with 4 double crochets. So we have completed row 5. Chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We stitched 4 more, chain 1, V-stitch in the chain 1 space, and repeat that across. So we have 9 V-stitches with chain 1s in between, and then we chained 1 and stitched 1 double crochet in the last 4 and chain 3. That is our 1 row repeat. And so what you're going to do for the next 70 or more rows is repeat row 5. Now remember, if you're going to do more rows, you're going to need a little bit more yarn. If you're going to make this with just 1 cake of that Caron cinnamon roll, then you're going to need to do 70 additional rows of R5. And again, if you're going to do a longer wrap, you'll need just a little bit more yarn. The key to getting this particular wrap correct is to measure as you go. Try it on and see if you like the length. If it's too long, don't do as many rows. If it's too short, do more rows. And remember, you can find the multiples and how to adjust the pattern on that blog link so that you can make it the width and the length that you want. All right, so we're going to repeat row 5 for 70 more rows. So I have stitched 70 additional rows, so that puts me at row 75. Now remember, measure the length, see if that's the length that you want. If you want it longer, add more rows. All right, so now we're going to put the ending row on and then add the beaded trim. And I'll also explain to you, if you don't want to use a beaded trim, how you can do just a basic trim as well. So our wrap shawl is the length that we want. So we're done doing our rows of V stitches. So we chain 3 and we're going to turn our work. And now what we want to do is we want to do a solid row of double crochets so it looks the same on this end as it does on this other end. All right, so the way we do that is we're going to double crochet in those first 3 double crochets just like we were doing. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space. 1, whoops, 2. Now we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space of our V stitch. And then we'll repeat this across. 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space. 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space of our V stitch. 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space, and 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space of our V stitch. And this gives us a nice solid row of double crochet across. All right, so we'll continue to repeat this across and then finish with those 4 double crochets. I have completed that across, and this is going to give you 37 double crochets. And then we only chained 1 because we're going to begin doing a simple trim. All righty, now we're going to turn our work. We're going to single crochet in this first double crochet and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to skip the next 2 double crochets and single crochet in the next and chain 3. Skip the next 2 and single crochet in the next, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we'll repeat this all the way across. Single crochet, chain 3, skip 2 and single crochet in the next. And we'll repeat this all the way across our row. So I have repeated this row. Single crochet, skip 2, chain 3, single crochet in the next, all the way across. You're going to have 12 chain 3 spaces. All right, and then chain 3, and we're going to turn our work. Now this is where you can decide if you want to add beads or not. All right, so I've got my beads here. I've got my tiny crochet hook. And so I'm going to show you how we do that. All right, so I've chained 3. If I'm going to add a bead, I'm going to choose a bead. I'll take my tiny crochet hook, put it through the loop, and put the bead on my tiny crochet hook, wrap my yarn around it, and I'm going to hold the bead and pull that yarn through like that. All right, then I'll just put my tiny crochet hook back in there, and I'm going to slip stitch in that first chain after the bead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, now I'm going to place a single crochet in that chain 3 space. Now, if you do not want to add a bead, what you're going to do is just make a picot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slip stitch in the third chain and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you'll go and stitch a single crochet in the next chain 3 spot. So instead of having a bead, you'll have a picot. It's up to you which way you want to do that. I love adding the beads, and I think it adds a nice touch and also gives just a little bit of weight to the edge of your wrap to help keep it in place. So we're going to chain 3. I'm going to add a bead, put my little tiny crochet hook through the loop, put my bead on my crochet hook, wrap my yarn around, and just pull that through both of those, the bead and the loop. Okay, and that's a very tiny hook, so sometimes you have to kind of pull the loop through. Now we're going to chain 1, slip stitch in that chain 1 before the bead, and chain 3, and then single crochet in the next chain 3 space. All right, we'll do it again. 1, 2, 3. Got my bead, my tiny hook, and it's important, you don't have to use one quite this small, but it's important that you can get it through the end of your bead. Like this one, I can't. All right, so we'll go through the loop, we'll go through the bead, yarn over our little hook, and pull that through gently. And then we'll switch back to this one. Chain 1, slip stitch in the chain before the bead, and chain 3, and place a single crochet in that next chain 3. All right, and then we'll just do this all the way across. You can do the picot or the bead, or you can leave it off altogether if you're really not into either one of those. You know, it's up to you what you want to do. Let's see, let's do a pink one. And yes, this is a little more time consuming, but you know what? It's worth it because it's so pretty. I think the beads are perfect for spring. All right, so I'm going to continue this across the bottom edge. Once you've added all your beads or all your picots, whichever way you wanted to do that, here's the last one. Here's our single crochet in our last chain 3 space, and here's our bead added, chain 3. We're going to single crochet in that last single crochet stitch and cut our yarn, and then we'll tie that off. We just need to grab our needle. I've got it in this bowl somewhere. There it is. And we'll just weave this in. Now this is only on the one end, so we want to add the beaded trim on the other end. And so what you'll do is you'll just join your yarn on the edge of the double crochet. And let me show you on this one. It's what I did on here. I just joined it to the end and single crocheted in that first stitch, and then just repeated on this end what I did on this end. Exactly the same. Of course, we were into a different color of yarn on there. And so now I have a beaded trim on both ends of my spring Aurora shawl or wrap. So now my Aurora Wrap Shawl is all completed. I've got my beaded trim on both ends, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to use this. It has so many different uses. You could wrap it around your waist over your bathing suit, wrap it across your shoulders. You can even wear it over your head to cover your ears on a windy day. It's just a beautiful, simple, lacy wrap shawl. It makes a great Mother's Day gift as well. And remember, you don't have to use the colors that I used. You can use whatever colors that you want. As a matter of fact, it'd be beautiful in ombre or even in a solid color.